Okay. Yeah. Good evening, all the attendees. We'll start the webinar now. And I am Mahesh Bhatt, a senior faculty member, your host for the evening. And with me are my colleagues, Ritu Sonalika, Vivek Garady, and Murali Krishna Menon. They are uh, the heads of studies of the three programs that we are discussing, three courses rather, in our BDes offerings that we are discussing this evening. We also have Nad, who is the head of studies of public space design, and he's here just to answer if there are any questions on public space design. So let me just give an introduction. Srishti, uh, or Srishti Manipal Institute, as we are called now, SMI for short. We are the only institute of design in India that offers programs that are very unique, that are not really offered by others. Our business services design, uh, creative and applied computation, information arts and information design practices, public space design, and creative education in the BDes spectrum, where the award is the degree award is Bachelor of Design. Uh, so these are non-standard courses, and there's always question, what do we do in these courses? What do students learn? And that's precisely we are here to discuss and tell you this evening. Uh, my colleagues are very senior professionals. They are very senior academicians. They've been with Srishti for a very long time and have been running this program very successfully. So therefore, without further ado, I'll hand over the mic, so to speak, to my colleague Ritu, who is going to talk about uh, uh, business service and systems design. Also, to let you all know that the webinar is being recorded, which we will put up on our YouTube channel later on. Over to you, Ritu.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So nice to see you all here. So yes, I'll be talking to you all about a fairly unique program, which is at the undergrad level, which is called the Business Services and System Design. It's one of its kind, at least we can say in India, because service design generally is a postgrad or other such program at in outside India. So I'll just start a presentation and on also, yeah, let me introduce myself. So my background is product design, and I have also have been working in this service and system design space from last couple of years. And so let me just share the screen with you all. Have you changed the setting by any chance?
You're unable to share? Let me just see, but no, you can share. There's no problem. Are you unable to share, Ritu?
No.
Oh, okay. Give me a second, please.
Yeah.
Can you try now?
No, for sure. Vivek, you would like to just try sharing it just to see if it the option?
Sharing
Sure, I
option.
just let me just try.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I think it's working.
Okay.
So do you want to, Vivek, do you want to start off just so that till then
Sure.
Ritu can, so we will till we sort out the technical problem. Uh, so we will Vivek, who had given applied commission, intriguing program, will start off. By that time, we'll sort out whatever the little technical issue we have in screen sharing. Go ahead, Vivek.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Vivek. I lead this program called the Creative and Applied Computation. All of you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, just raise your hand just in case you can't hear me. So I'm actually from the industry, around 25 years of experience in the IT industry, especially from companies like Sony, Schneider, Mises, etc. So I joined Srishti around 7.5 years ago. I'm deeply interested and passionate about sharing my knowledge with students. So I'll quickly take you through what CAC is. It sounds very complex, but it's pretty simple and it's very elegant and beautiful. So before we delve with applied computation, let's try to understand what are the typical IT courses in this country. So if you look at the typical UG offerings, you have BTech in computer science, then BTech in information technology, BTech in so many other specializations like full stack development, artificial intelligence, blockchain. Then you have 3-year courses like this BCA, Bachelor of Computer Application. Again, they have their own specialization in cybersecurity, full stack coding, then 3-tier architecture, web development, etc. Then you have the pure science stream as well, a BSc in computer science. Then, of course, you have the traditional course, the BE, Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science. So you'll have to pay a little attention here. All these courses are designed to provide a balance of theoretical knowledge and practical skills. But the primary focus here is definitely on equipping the students with skills needed to succeed in an IT company. Of course, they balance skills and other crucial things, a little bit of capability and things like that. But predominantly, it's about skills. Okay, please raise your hands if you have any questions. Okay, so don't you don't have to wait until the end.
No, Vivek. If they have questions, they can type in. They can't speak.
Okay, okay, fine.
I have already sent a message to everybody that they can, and I'm telling also now that attendees can type in their questions, and we will take them.
Sure. So these are the typical course offerings from other colleges, the traditional colleges. So coming to applied computation. So applied computation is a discipline, okay, that uses computational methods to solve real life problems. By computational methods, I'm actually talking about using computers to tackle problems that are too difficult to handle manually. Okay, so there's a vast amount of data, vast amount of interfaces, and there's literally big data now. So how do you use numerical analysis models to actually mimic the real world scenarios? So that is what I mean by computational methods here. It is a multidisciplinary area of computer science, math, and other disciplines like engineering, science, and business, aimed at developing practical, elegant solutions to problems. So this is a very simple definition. There's no one definition per se, but this is applied computation. So if you go back to the previous slide, these are basically courses which are like almost like pure science, especially this BCA, BSc, all are pure science courses. And these BTech, BE are engineering courses. So here it's applied science. The science here is computation. So I'm using computation to solve real life problems. Okay. So visually, let's look at what this computation, applied computation actually means. So if you look at, if you just read the newspapers, even in today's elections in Delhi, there was so much of machine learning involved in who's going to win, AAP or BJP or Congress, right? So computation is there in every domain, every discipline on this planet right now. So these verticals are different domains or disciplines: science, engineering, business, healthcare, social sciences, ecology, excuse me, and many other domains where computation actually intersects. So for science, when I say science here, without computation, there's really no research. So if you look at research in healthcare, if you look at research in social sciences, if you look at research in math, chemistry, whatever, different disciplines of science, there is always computation, because there is so much data today because of the internet and the hardware, prices coming down. All data is digitized, and to process the digitized data, we need computer science. So engineering, business, healthcare, social sciences, ecology, you may ask why ecology is required. I mean, why computation is required in ecology. So the rise of technologies like remote sensing, GPS tracking, GIS, then a lot of sensors, all these equipment basically generates, terabytes of data over a period of time. And we require computation to analyze that and to get some valuable insights. Okay. So this is a very high level, or a bird's eye view of what applied computation is. So where is applied computation actually, put to use? So this computation is a very, very versatile tool that can be used by anyone who needs to analyze data, build models which mimic real life, scenarios or ecosystems, simulate systems or automate processes. So if you go back 15, 20 years ago, automation was a huge thing in the IT industry, and computation was always there. So to automate things, we require computation, which actually reduces human interference and it actually increases the efficiency. It also empowers us to solve complex problems and make much better decisions. It is a highly valuable skill for any of the domains, for any of the individuals in any of the domains. Okay. So let's look at some of the key, what should I say, opportunities for applied computation graduate. So one important thing is to help non-IT people break into this space. So traditionally, it's only the B graduates who used to work in the IT industry, or BCA graduates working in the IT industry. Now there is a phenomenal opportunity for design students or graduates to actually pitch into the IT industry. So these design students can help bridge the gap between customers who are not, experts in the IT field per se, and the experts, the IT industry. So they can actually build a bridge between these two communities. So the designers, especially from Srishti, SMI, are skilled in both theory behind the computer science and its direct application. That is the application of computation, applied computation. So this is a great value-added capability, which is highly beneficial to the IT industry. I'll discuss that in the coming slides. The other important thing is they're trained to solve pressing business problems with the application of technology. If you compare, graduates from BE or BTech courses, they are purely skill-oriented. They will not know, they're not trained. I won't say not know, they're not trained to solve business problems. So there are other people who actually look at business problems, then interface with the technical team. But here, we have people who can look at the problem holistically, look at the complete ecosystem to understand the various entities and their interactions in that ecosystem. They are trained to think critically and even look at systems. What should I say? System thinking. Okay, so they understand the complete ecosystem. Look at various interdisciplinary interactions in that ecosystem, and they're able to ask fundamental questions about the complete ecosystem per se. The most important thing is they're able to take on leadership roles. This is the really most striking thing, because they're not like freshers. The graduates from BTech B courses are freshers in IT industry, but students from SMI, from CSE can actually leapfrog beyond this and look at a little more higher leadership roles and bridge the gap between non-IT and IT communities. So these are some of the opportunities they get in the industry. So other things is about moving to entry or mid-level IT positions to a higher level role. So let me talk about our students. So we have had 3 batches who have actually graduated since 2018, and some of these students have joined IT startups in Bangalore and Mumbai, Delhi, and even some abroad. And some have joined MNCs and NGOs addressing interdisciplinary social issues. Majority have joined the startups because the startups are very open in terms of offering jobs to design students. MNCs are still in the verge of they need to change. And in fact, we are working with MNCs. I'll discuss that in the coming slides. NGOs, of course, they address a lot of interdisciplinary social issues, and there's great opportunity for the students. So the other thing is, while design-focused roles are still developing, mainstream industries are increasingly recognizing the value of design graduates. The mainstream or the traditional IT companies are still into services, and you would have read papers. They're talking about GCCs, global capability centers. They're again very traditional, and it will take some time for them to open up and understand, where design students actually add value. In fact, we are actually trying to forge alliances with industries. We're working very closely with Microsoft, Google, Sony, and SAP, and many other top Fortune 20 companies to form a alliance to understand their needs and how we can actually sort of empower students once they graduate. So these are the three things what has materialized so far from last 3 batches of CSE students graduating. So I'll conclude here with a small quote of what applied computation is. Just take a few seconds to read this. So candidates with an applied computing degree are especially valuable because they are skilled IT generalists. So they are not experts in any particular subdomain of IT. Either it could be cybersecurity, it could be 3-tier architecture, or web architecture, etc. They understand the IT ecosystem, and they understand the business problems, and how to work with how to decipher a business problem and apply computation to get more insights. So they have got a solid foundation in all disciplines of IT, and this is a very apt quote from Mike Fox. So I thought it will be useful for you to understand. So I'll stop here. Mahesh, I'll stop here.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, all the people who are attending. Let me remind you all again that you can type in your questions in the chat box, and we will take the answer. We'll give the answers later. Ritu, now is your sharing working?
Let's see.
If it's not, perhaps you can email it to one of us, and then we can
I have
share it.
already done that to Ninad. Ninad, can you just?
Shall I try?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Ritu, just give me a prompt when you want to change the slide.
Yeah. So our course is called Business Service and System Design. And I would just, I think most of us understand the business part of it, which is more the generic, but I'll just try to make you understand through the next slide what we mean by the service and system. The next slide, please.
Yeah.
So, we all are on a daily basis surrounded with so many different kind of systems and services, which is related to travel, healthcare, banking, UPI, food, cab, insurance, investments. So our course is really located in understanding this bigger system in which we are on an everyday basis sitting in. And how do you actually provide a service which is smooth and by design? So yes, the next slide, please. So so product design is typically what I think most of us understand, whether it's the product design as a tangible product, or if we are talking about, say, some app development. So that is what the product is. But now here where our course is mostly located would be the service and the system. Service, what we really mean is how do you make these products work? Who are the people who are behind it? Who are the stakeholders? What are the system that entails in it? And what is the business model which is around it? So if you really see the last two, the columns, the right side is where this whole course would be ideally located in it. And yes, this is a fairly wide and a relevant space, because as we are seeing, we are getting used to more and more of the service that is reaching to us. And and that is where we also feel that design can play a huge role in making this more feasible and viable to the people. Can you next one, please? So I would also like to make you all understand how Srishti we work, because that's really important to understand, because that's also very unique to our ecosystem, that while we are talking about our own programs, students have a lot of opportunity and choice to learn also from the other programs, which is which we call it as a choice-based learning that is there. So of course, the foundation year, it's where they're building a foundation, they are unlearning. But from the second and third year, like the BSSD program is also informed, so that students have the choice to take up courses from other disciplines as well, because we feel that as the world is progressing, it's become really important that, they don't just remain in one domain, but they are able to understand other domains as well. And looking at that, the students have a lot of choice, so that they are able to do several things. If you really see on the right side of the column, what we have said: new product or service envisioning new businesses and services. They can work in startups. They can even work in the emerging and transdisciplinary spaces. Of course, they can go in the service design. They can become design researcher, strategic design, organizational design, social innovation, and of course, the UI UX researcher. Because while they are doing the BSSD program, they can have the option of taking a course from product design, which we call the IAIDP, Industrial Art and Design Practice, VCSB, the visual communication and strategic branding, human-centered design. Vivek right now, what to speak about the applied computation and industrial art and design practices. So the majors are these and the minors are this. So very frankly, what it does is that they are pretty much comfortable to work in various social enterprises, hospitality, which is also what I'm telling also is coming from a very informed space of saying that students are working in these spaces, food and technology, UI, UX, of course, e-commerce, healthcare, consumer lifestyle, and agri sector. So it's important to understand this, that students have fair amount of space to hone themselves and understand that what their interest and learning is in this space. Next slide. So if we are saying business service and systems design, it was important also for me to just elaborate that each of this component is very important, like the business idea of what is business design, what service design, what system design, and design in itself. So there are courses which are aligned in each of these components, which you all can, I will not go into it, but just to give you a sense that it's a fairly well-designed program around which takes care of each of it. And there are some courses, units, which are at the bottom, if you really see, is the simple system and service design, which combines all these four different elements. Then ethics in design, facilitating creative industry, or so these are the courses which ensures that the student is able to become a entrepreneur of their own, or if they want to be in a service oriented industry and become a service designer, or sometimes they are getting into spaces where they are talking about more of a systemic kind of an intervention. So the students are well equipped to handle these kind of spaces. Next, please. So I'll just give you a sense of how typically a classroom looks like, because it's very vibrant. This is one of the workshops. that's actually going on where it's a starter company. And of course, the whole environment is pretty much very vibrant, where there's a lot of discussion, a lot of feedback, and a lot of, understanding from each other also happens apart from what we as facilitators facilitate the whole program. And in this whole classroom, they're not just BSSD students, but they are also coming from other disciplines also. So, so the whole classroom scenario is designed to learn from not just what we as a course are giving, but also from each, from the peer learning. Next, please. So now, if just to give you an one sense of one more studio unit called How Systems Work and Fail. So they actually go in the outside environment and do case studies. They understand the policies. They, in this case, they were studying about street vendors. So they go and actually speak to the street vendors and what are the challenges, what are the interventions they can do. They look at the policies, the government policies that are there. And then they might choose to work on an app, or they might choose to work on a product which will help the street vendor. There are a whole load of ways in which they can actually take their idea forward, apart from understanding where the system is working and failing. Right? Next, please. So business of service design is another very real life situation that they, apart from the first few weeks, they would actually get the theoretical knowledge, and they're actually asked to design a service and test it by the people in the college and invite people and get a feedback on it. So they design based on different kind of business models. They are constantly have to innovate themselves within their learning spaces, and so they work on all different kind of contexts around thrifting, carpooling, building balcony gardens, jamming, music. But the underlying aspect is, how do you make this, the idea of service design as a good business? How do you really ensure that that can happen? Next. Next, please. It's not happening, Ninad?
No, it's moved already. Can't see it. She's dropped off the call, is it? Mahesh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I is got disconnected perhaps. She should be back. Until then,
Okay.
yeah, Ritu's
Yes.
back.
Yeah, so this is just the last example I'm just giving you, because it was a very important 7th semester project where they were talking about health and welfare, and students looked at it from a various different point of view, whether they were talking about healthy neighborhood, or from a nutrition point of view, or develop different kind of enterprises, or so. Or they were looking at heart health. So it was very interesting to see that how this program actually allows people, the students, to take within the service and system to understand various different aspects within it, because we have given the whole thing about healthy living, So just want to give you a sense that there's a whole lot of opportunity that actually is there within this, to be getting into a very product oriented, service oriented, or a user experience oriented kind of a space. And now just the last slide. Okay, just one more. This I want to give you one more example, because this was another. So we focus a lot on because especially when they're talking about service system, we are constantly working in real life scenarios, real life examples, and that's very, very important to us. Because we believe that you don't if you're not interfacing or not interviewing people or not talking to the people, you will not understand what the needs are. So in this case, they're talking about, I don't know if you all are familiar with the new Param Science Center that's come. And these students work with Param Innovation Science Center. And their whole proposal was that how do we build maker labs across Bengaluru? And thankfully, Param became like a test base for us, and they allowed the students to conduct various kind of workshops with them. And believe me, they're not like maker of that nature, but what really gave them the confidence is that what is the business model that I can have, what is the service model that I can have around it, and how can I facilitate the concept of maker lab and make it reachable to the larger audience, you know. So that is what is important to understand, that it's not the core skill that they know how to do that particular, but they are looking at a much broader idea or a concept of things. Can I just go to the next? Yeah, this is another one which is very special to me, because these two girls, Palak and Nandini, they did their 8th semester project with me only, and now they are on their own venture now, and they've got funding for it. It's called Beku Bites, and they were also semi-finalists in the Sustainable Food Innovation Challenge. So these are some of those things that if you're able to drive passion amongst these students into what they're interested in, you see that they really grow well and they are able to take off pretty fast in life. Yeah. So the last, no, that's it. I would like to, because those will take into other directions. Yeah. Thank you so much. So that's it. This kind of gives what the students have been doing and what we do in the class. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritu. Again, if you have any questions, please type in the chat box. And if you have any other questions on admissions process, team Manipal Institute.in, we will reply to that. Our website is quite comprehensive, and you can go through it for more details. Now, the other course that a very interesting course, the BDes program course that we have is Information Arts and Information Design Practices. We have Murali Krishna Menon, who heads IAIDP for short. That program is called IAIDP for short. Murali heads IAIDP. Over to Murali. He's a toy maker, a toy designer rather. He'll tell a little more about himself. And over to you, Murali.
Thank you, Mahesh. Good evening, everyone, colleagues, and everyone who's attending the webinar. Thank you, Mahesh, for giving the brief interview. Yes, I'm a toy designer. I'm a game designer. I am an architect, and I'm also a design manager. That being said, I've been with Srishti for close to about 9 years and still going on. Srishti has been a home and a wonderful place. The best part about being at Srishti is the sheer diversity of people that you come in touch with, the sheer diversity of work that students bring to the table, and also my colleagues and esteemed professionals who keep coming to Srishti. I have a presentation, and it's kind of like a makeshift, but I will share it with you guys. That being said, let me just quickly tell you a little bit about the program. Let me see if I can just share the slide and that can happen properly. Is everyone able to see the slide?
Yes.
Thank you, Harish. Right. So information arts and information design practices is a very different kind of a discipline. It is what we call at Srishti as a transdisciplinary space, not an interdisciplinary space. You learn a lot of skills in this and you apply those skills in a very different manner, which I'll get to over the period of over the course of the presentation. But we like to call ourselves as storytellers, and our primary area of work looks at grabbing information and converting it into tangible forms which can be shared with people. When I mean people, I mean everybody, in the sense I can have a piece of information which can resonate with a child, it can resonate with a middle-aged person, it can resonate with a teenager, it can resonate with someone the early 20s to late 40s to even more wider audiences. We are not conformed, or rather, how do I say, we are not restricted by a medium per se, but we are definitely people who look at innovative ways of conveying information, which basically can either cause you to think, ponder, or even act. We are looking at storytelling, which is one of the most important or simplest ways to look at the whole thing. It is it's a very powerful medium to convey information or convey details or hidden things about cultures, society, and multiple aspects. It can even become a lovely medium in which your thoughts and emotions can be conveyed as well. It becomes a very unique way of conveying experiences into very meaningful ways of telling a story. You can easily say, yes, I went from point A to point B, or you can actually talk about what you were going through when you're going from point A to point B. What makes it more immersive and interesting is what we try to look into. Information arts, information design in itself has got its core values embedded in experimental artistry, creativity, which is on the lines of ethics. You're looking at sustainable practices at the same time, which basically goes along with people and also keeping environment and ecology in mind. It is rooted in sensitivity, and the objective also is to develop enduring understanding or a uh, how do I say, a prolonged feeling of empathy, which basically means that once your work is done, you don't dust your hands and walk off. You imbibe that feeling inside and you keep practicing it on a regular basis. These are a few things that we try to embed in our students, and many of, rather not, let me be very honest, it's not many, almost all the students have kind of chosen these capabilities to build within themselves, to use different sorts of media and kind of apply it in multiple places, which become more sensitive, which become more immersive. You're looking at a particular topic from multiple perspectives so that you can find various point of views to look at the same information and convey the stories. We are a community-driven people, and therefore we interact with multiple sets of people to bring about their stories outside to everybody else. We are very deeply into research, and the research eventually is oriented around converting it into some form of a tangible form, which is what we call as an output. And of course, we always try to challenge ourselves to see, have we become better than what we were, and have we become better storytellers by looking intrinsically and extrinsically to see how the information has been conveyed and how it has been perceived. These are certain attitudes that we believe in. Value of life with empathy, integrity, and deep perception to interconnectedness. You're looking at rigor, depth in your work, and you're also looking at knowledge from all the surrounding spaces. And you're looking at expanding the notion of art, technology, and design. There's a very stereotypical view that people have about art and artists, if I may say so. And we try to challenge all of that and convey a very different side of arts and artistry, design and design practitioners, and design practice in itself to everybody else. These are few things, or rather, if I may call so, these are the 5 pillars that literally looks at information arts and information design. We are looking at the pillar, we are looking at communicating through time, we communicate through space, we communicate in action and through action, you communicate in context and through context, and you also communicate through self, which basically means that you are not disconnecting yourself from the communication pathway. You are always going to be immersed within that, and you also consider yourself as a medium to convey. To speak in a nutshell, you don't make something and leave it. You take it forward one step extra and say, okay, how do I become a messenger to convey the information and spread across to everybody else? These are snippets, but they are also having a small tagline which gives a bit of an idea of what students generally do when we go about doing our work. This is a project which was done by students at Bandipur, and these are students who were there in Bandipur, tribal communities in the schools. So yes, you do engage with communities, which would be children, older people, or anybody. You look at research and investigation, And when I say research and investigation, it is not looking at information on the internet. You go and talk to people, you converse with them, you try to get their stories out and you get their experiences on paper and into other form mediums which can be used to convey. You're looking at design and artistic process. For the longest of time, there was an understanding that there is design process and there is no artistic process. Now, it's entirely different. There is design process, there is artistic process, and we look at an intersection of both. You can either choose design process or artistic process, or you can choose to work with a confluence of both. And yes, as I said, you always convert whatever you research into a making form. This is just to show how these are all children's drawings, but yes, we enjoy ourselves in being storytellers. Children enjoy stories the most. If you can capture the imagination of a child, you can capture the imagination of everyone. That's what we believe in. So you create prototypes, you try it, you test it, you iterate, you reiterate before you come to an output or an outcome. That's how the student works. I'm quickly going to breeze through them because this is the 11th year of the program. The plethora of work that I have and I can talk about, I think I can go on for years on end, but I'll just choose to stick with a few snippets of the student works so that you get a bit of an idea of the diversity that students come up with. This is again a small storybook regarding a 6-year-old child, and the artwork done is all made by the student from the respective primary research that she did. She didn't look at a child, she looked at multiple children, she looked at the intersecting spaces that children had in common, and then she converted this into a small storybook, right? And it's basically looking at how the girl sees and takes you on a magical tour of her entire village. This was a project that was done quite some time back where the student chose to create terrariums or small green spaces in the house by looking at junk lying around, which again is a very unique space because, as I said, information arts, information design thrives between the pyramid, within a very unique pyramid. The apexes of the pyramid are society, ecology, and environment. Society is the social set. Ecology is the environmental space that you're having. And when I'm saying environment, you're not just looking at the green spaces all around. Home is an environment, work is an environment, educational spaces are an environment. The world that you move around in itself is a living and dynamic environment. So we look at this very unique space and try to curate our spaces of research and outputs. This is a movie, which is a film rather, which has been made by one of the students who looks at the journey of a Tibetan boy and who basically finds Buddha in his entire journey. To speak in a nutshell, it's a revelation. This is again a project that was done quite some time back, which looks at 3 pivotal characters of Mahabharata, which is basically Kunti, Gandhari, and Draupadi, and looks at telling their stories in the current time. There's a certain kind of a stereotype associated with how women should conduct themselves in a particular space. And this narrative exploration was looking at challenging all of that and seeing how the contemporary time have changed that particular interpretation or that particular objective or that point of view. Opportunities are extensive. You can become entrepreneurs, you can become design consultants, you can work in the information media industry, you can look at working in the film industry, illustrators, comic book industry, magazines, new media industry. You can become illustrators, you can become cartoonists. To speak in a nutshell, you're looking at all mediums of exploration and expression which the students have engaged themselves in over the last 8 to 9 years. I'll conclude with this. Just to speak in a nutshell, information arts and information design is a very dynamic discipline which doesn't reside in a particular medium of output. We look at our target audience and we choose our form of output basis what resonates with the target audience in the best possible manner. Ritu ma'am had spoken about the different structures or majors and minors that students can choose to. It stays the same across Srishti, and it basically gives the students a very wide space to look into what medium suits them best as storytellers and what they want to curate and hone as their skill and then work forward in the professional life. I think I'll stop at that.
Thank you, Murali. Thanks a lot for that. And let me say one more thing, that a question that keeps coming up to many from many of our applicants, saying that, do you need to be proficient in drawing? You know, uh, 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 to be a Srishti student? No, the answer is that no, you don't have to be. Many of our students can't draw. Like the I to give you an example of IAIDP, there are students who are very analytical in their viewpoints. To a recent project, a graduating thesis project by a student called Kasturi Pathak, was about the issues of uh, growing onions in Maharashtra. What are the processes? What is the politics? What is, that is so interesting. So there are many such projects. So you don't have to be. There is again another mentee of mine who graduated a few years ago, Vidhi Shah. She just did not like drawing. Just hated drawing. Uh, she became a she's after graduating, she spent 3 or 4 years as a narrative designer in a top gaming company. Now she has moved into a very interesting. Uh, I wouldn't call it an NGO, but something that works, a company that works in the public domain, where she brings in her information art skills and the experience in the gaming industry to gamify many communication processes. So the opportunities are vast, and SMI has really brought this to the transdisciplinarity, and because of the transdisciplinarity of the learning process, we are able to give many different kinds of designers to the world. So, okay. Now, having said that, there's a question here to Murali. Is BFA different from this course or a subset of this? Murali, do you want me to answer this, or will you? Okay. So BFA is this is MJ who's answering it. Moksha Jain. Moksha, is it? Moksha Jain. Sorry. BFA is is a program. It's very, very similar to BDes, and students who are BDes, who are studying in BDes, can do courses offered by BFA courses in their second or third year, or in their 8th semester project. So the courses offered in BFA are film, animation, that's digital media arts, and contemporary art practices. So BDes has 8 other different courses that we offer. Moshe, I hope I have answered your question. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask. Yukti, which course is useful if you are good at drawing? Can I know that too? Very interesting, Yukti. Thank you. Ritu, do you want to, talk about it?
Yeah, I would love to, because, we really want to stress on this aspect that it's not the skill. Okay, you will enhance from whichever level you're coming in, Srishti. So that is very important. If you're good at it, you'll become better. You will see how many different ways you can use what you have and take it further. Our Srishti space is more about opening your minds and seeing how many different ways you can use your own skill and discover new things about your own self. I think our focus is more on that. So I would take it that yes, skill is one thing, but you will become better and you will discover yourself more. I would like to stress on that.
And
Anybody else?
Yukti, to add, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go
Sorry, go
ahead. Hmm.
Yukti, to add to what Ritu has said, you can, all the 11 BFA or BDes courses are useful if you're good at drawing. All are useful if you're not good at drawing. So that's
Exactly.
how I
The
got it.
point exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So Ria saying, what does HCD course consist of? Anybody, Vivek or Ritu, do you want to answer, or shall I?
So, Vivek, you want to go ahead? Okay, typically, HCD, human-centered design, is very much seen as a UI UX thing, and it's not so. Very frankly, they are doing very interesting work. They are working with technology for sure, but they are always technology. I mean, maybe Vivek can elaborate better on that space. But what we are really trying to say is that they are seeing how these technology can be applied in many different spaces. So the faculty who are working in HCD space are working a lot in the healthcare space as well. You know, they are having their own labs, and they are looking at many different ways of new opportunities to apply these basic the skill sets into many different areas of it. So we it's hard to say what it consists of, but you can, if you're coming with a certain area of interest, you will be able to move into that space as well. Vivek, if you can just talk about what, the technology, because you also work with technology and they also work with technology. How's it different, maybe?
Yes, I mean, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so there are a lot of, I mean, it's a thin gray line between HCD and CSE. So most of the technological components are covered in CSE. So they use predominantly, I mean, by and large, they use the same tool sets to work. Okay, as far as HCD is concerned. So HCD is again, the focus is on UX UI, but that's not the only thing. So it is a human-centered design. So that could apply to even a social movement or social change. So anything we deal in this planet is human-centered. So it can intersect with anything apart from technology as well. Okay, I'll just stop here because in the interest of time. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Vivek. Now this is to directly to Nina. Could you please tell me more about public space over Nina?
Okay, hi.
Sarayu is asking.
Hi, Sarayu. So what essentially public space design at Srishti, like the other courses we are saying, it's very interdisciplinary in nature. And essentially we are looking at space as a three-dimensional canvas, if you want to say it like that, and how you can engage with spaces as a practitioner. And essentially, if you are entering into a public space design, of course, we are dealing with the fundamental aspects of space in terms of scale, physicality, sensorial aspects of space, behavior aspects of how people kind of inhabit spaces, how they move through spaces. So all those, it's a mix of theoretical understanding, making, and drawing, of course, in terms of communicating. How do you want to communicate your different aspects? Mostly the students with who have graduated with public space design, essentially, if you are interested in engaging with spaces as a interior designer or something to do with exhibitions, set designs, or more towards engaging with communities, creating spaces for them to come together. Placemaking is an emerging kind of a practice that is coming into a spatial design as a discipline. Or like how Ritu was saying, if you want to kind of engage at an urban level and understand systems that are there, and you kind of get engaged at the infrastructure level, those are the kind of avenues that are kind of dealt, that we are dealing in the public space design. We had done an extensive webinar around public space design. It's about, it's already there on the YouTube of Srishti. It's about 1 hour long. So if you're interested, I would kind of encourage you to go through that webinar. I'm just pasting the link of it.
Yeah, we have already done.
Yeah. So in case you are interested, it's an extensive webinar only for public space design as a program. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, the other question, question from Kavya, I think I'll need to let Murali take a try answer that. I have more interest towards crafting than drawing, and I like creating physical designs with my hands. So which course would be better for me? Murali is the toy maker. You should see his work. Kavya, go ahead, Murali.
Thank you, Vash. Kavya, I think, see, if you're interested in crafting with hand, it's a very open-ended question, to be very, very honest, because when you say crafting with hands, there's a lot of crafting that happens at Srishti. Holding a camera as a tool is one crafting. Holding a chisel with your hands is another thing. Holding paper with your hands is another thing. What will be more interesting to know is what exactly do you like to craft? If you're looking at crafting physical things with hand, then industrial arts is an extremely good space. BSSD that Ritu ma'am spoke about might sound like business service and system design, but you still make a lot of prototypes with hand. I mean, you have to see those quite a bit of those things that you have to craft with hand to convey it to people. Information arts looks at significant amount of crafting with hands. It could be anything in terms of artifacts to basically posters, hand drawn artworks, art pieces, everything on those lines. Visual communication is also a good space where looking at crafting with hand. Again, as I said, if you're looking at material exploration, information arts and industrial arts are two good spaces. Business service design also gives you a good amount of good amount of exposure to that. If you're looking at crafting with visuals, then yes, animation, film, information arts also provide good amount of spaces. That being said, even public space design offers good amount of spaces where you learn to draw digitally and manually in both cases. So I don't think I can pinpoint and say that a particular discipline would be best suited for you. The most important thing would be to know where exactly your interests lie so that it becomes easy for us to kind of guide you and say that, okay, this would be the best or appropriate discipline for you. Otherwise, well, if you are a person who crafts with hand, most welcome. We are looking for people who love working with hands. More hands-on means even better for us.
Yeah, good. Thank you. There was another question earlier. Aban Khan was asking, can I know the major and minor courses? Vivek wanted to know a little more about which discipline he was referring to. I think Aban, it's a vast. The link that I shared earlier, the video recording of a webinar called "Many Journeys of a Learner" at Srishti at SMI, that would give you a lot more information. It would be very difficult to answer your question in a very short period of time. Aban, you can also reach out to our admissions office and schedule a meeting or a call with us. If you're from Bangalore, please come over to the campus anytime next week, and we will be able to talk to you in detail. It may take about half an hour at least to discuss this. But please do take a look at the webinar, recording of the webinar, Many Journeys of a Learner at Srishti. The question is, Yukti's question, which course is useful for virtual reality and augmented reality? Vivek, would you like to take this?
Yes, I think, see, virtual reality, we have a few courses in CSE as well as in HCD. But again, this is purely a skill-based a course. So you'll have to tie that with some kind of a domain or some discipline. I think virtual reality is also with DMA, I guess, right?
Digital media arts, that is.
Yeah, DMA, HCD, and CSE. So all these three have these components.
Yeah, it's Yukti, to add to it, virtual reality, augmented AR can be used across. Even students who design interiors use virtual reality or experience design. So it's a tool, so to speak, which can be used across different areas of work. Saryu is asking, is photography a part of many programs? Yes, it is. I'm the right person to answer it, I guess, as a photographer. Yeah, it is offered as courses, workshops, or we have a good studios. Students are welcome to come and work. Very interesting to tell you is that we also have we are currently working with a cohort of students at Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, and we have been working on a photography project for the last several months, which is going to culminate as a show in Bangalore sometime in May, in New York in June, which will run in New York for 3 months. So we do such interesting things. Every discipline, every studio does interesting things at Srishti. Sorry, so photography is part of the program. Many programs, yes. Okay, so thanks for your questions. A lot of we are almost run out of time. We can take one more if there is. Otherwise, we'll close. Is there a question? Any other question here? Oh, the Kavya is asking. I have more interest to it. Oh, we have already answered. Sorry. Okay, so I guess that's about it. And thank you very much for all the attendees. Thank you, panelists, for being here and spending the hour. The recording of this will be up on our YouTube channel soon. And we hope to we hope to see your applications and then look forward to having you at Srishti. And any other questions, please reach to us, reach our admissions team via the email ID or telephone number that's on our website. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank
Right,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mahesh.
Thank you, Mahesh.
Thank you.
Right, right.